Good morning, 10%ers. This is Michael with Trading Escapes. You can find us at tradingescapes.com. We're starting off a brand new week. It is Monday, January 7th, 2019, the first full week of the new year. And the markets are showing some healthy signs of recovering today over the weekend. We're looking at a chart AMD here. We can see what it looked like on Friday. Interesting thing going on here. Let me get this out of the way here a little bit. We can see we're kind of coming up to this trend line as we open. So it's going to be an interesting morning to see how this plays out. This is a trend line I'm looking at right here. So we kind of got this trend going from the high of the market back in October, coming down here, meeting these points, and you can see that we're trading right into it as we open this morning. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. This whole week is going to be the same as we've traded for the last 5 weeks. It's going to be our beta name AMD. We've added EMU into the mix, and we are trading 1,000 shares on those, looking for some consistency, working on our discipline. And we're going to trade this entire week the same exact way. Next week we're going to mix it up a little bit, and we'll probably come up with a plan during this week and the weekend to say how we're going to change things up next week. So that'll be exciting. All right, let's get this set back to our 1 minute chart. We got AMD set up here. We got EMU set up, MU set up here. You can see MU pre-market is, it's pulling up as well. AMD slight pull up, nothing significant, but this trend line is interesting to me. We're going to trade the way we trade. That's one of the lessons that we've been trying to instill in ourselves, is that we listen to different people in the morning. We look at trend lines. All of these things are important, but ultimately 9 times out of 10 what happens is they put some sort of message in our heads that mess up our trading, and when we go back and we review, we look at it and say, why didn't we trade our plan? It's a green day, but instead we were told that the market's gonna get hammered today and gonna go down, so we didn't stick into our trade to the upside. We jumped out early, and it would have been a full profit day, and we took partial. So, obviously trend lines are a little bit different than just somebody saying something out in the wild, but we'll see how the reaction comes together. Let's back it up a little bit and just see, we can see what happened the last time that we came into contact with this trend. Let's change our time frame. We'll go to 15 days. All right, so there we are this morning. What day was it that we were looking at here? Back in the end of November. And the time frame changed the plotting on the chart a little bit, but we can see right here that is 9/5. October, November. There's November where we touched that to the downside. And that's going to be the point. And like I said, the plotting changed a little bit when we changed the time frame. Two threes when that touched. Three, I mean. So right here's what happened the last time we came up to that line. Again, ignore the fact that the line separates because the time frame's changed. That's what we're looking at. You can see right there it hits that line at 23.72 and fails off of it once, twice, and then crashes down aftermarket, pre-market, and we have this big red day the day following. So like I said, it's an interesting wrinkle to the whole thing. As we're coming into this morning, and we've cracked it a little bit there pre-market. I can't wait to see what happens. All right, we're gonna put you on pause for a minute. We actually got started a little bit early here, so normally we're about 10 minutes before the bell. We got 30 minutes before the bell. Everybody, hope you are, you got your mind right, you got your coffee, breakfast, exercise, whatever you need to do to get yourself in the groove this morning, and we'll be back in a minute. And there's the bell. We'll begin by marking off our levels as usual. We'll pull down both on AMD and MU. MU seems to be a little bit stronger. Switch over to MU real quick here. We have a runner setting up at 23. Looks like it's going the other direction on us now. Whole dollar is the trigger point for AMD. Unfortunately, but that may give us a nice pullback. MU is putting in a new high now. Mark the bottom here. Bottom's at 31. It's moving up a little bit. AMD's having a nice run down. That's what I kind of predicted is the failure off that line there. Now, this isn't a runner yet. I'm going to watch it bounce at that whole dollar. MU's making another play to the downside. And as soon as I said that, it turned to the upside. It just triggered. Trigger was at 81. Put in some massive sweeps here. Trigger was on 81 for MU. Put an order in at 74. I'm going to pull back on AMD. Again, trigger was 81. AMD is still consolidating or going sideways a little bit on us. Okay, we took an entry on MU. Looks like it possibly is going to fail on us. We'll see what happens. Having some big moves right now. Went green for a second. We'll see if we can get some positive pressure to the upside. Let's get back over to AMD. AMD's pulling up. Still pulling up. Have never triggered on AMD, so a lot of volatility, some big jumps. We're gonna stick our stop in there. It's not looking good for us now. And down 110 on MU. AMD still dancing sideways. MU pulling back to the 20. AMD sitting strong here. Making a move back down to the half or the whole dollar. MU is broke under the 20. Still haven't triggered on AMD. Back in MU. Pushing up nicely on MU right now. Just no plays on mark off the bottom here. A and B so far. Still in the MU trade with 1,000 shares. Maybe about out of it now. Let's see if it holds the 9 and the 20. Still nothing happening for AMD, just consolidating sideways. AMD, well, it's starting to break a little bit to the upside. It's been holding that 9 fairly well though. MU making a break to the upside. We're moving up our stop. Rejection on that candle. Stop at 90. We're going to check AMD. AMD still dancing around. And hit our profit on that, 191. Check out AMD. AMD with a big push up to the 20. A massive surge up. Now again, let's watch this level right here. We had no react, it did come through it and bust through it on pre-market, so it may not end up being significant. We have this other pre-market level marked right here. We may have some failure on it. Came up, tested it. You can see this candle actually died there as well. MU is starting to make a red candle. Two trades up 191. We may stick with that. We'll see what happens here. Let's throw in some fib levels. Excuse me. Let's see what it does up there at the 61.8. Definitely walking sideways now. AMD still going strong. Look what happens at that level right there. Be interested to see if it fails off there, gets below this other level that we marked off, and see what happens. We never did trigger, so kind of had a failure here at 61.8. A little bit of confirmation at 38, so we're at the bottom, 0.8 here, you know what, I've got the levels extended up, but So we got the 50 level right at the whole dollar. It's getting held up by the 9. Pulled through. Question is it going to come back up here and test 60, or is it going to come down here and test 30? We have already broken. We got to wait for that candle to finish. All right, look, we're getting some failure up here at this trend line. See if we can come on top of it, or if we're going to fail off of it. I'm looking for this to go back up and test that 60 level now. Right? So here we come up to 16, up to 17. Test that high day. There it comes. Let's see what's going to happen. And it's going to pull back. It's going to relax a little bit. Okay, that's the second test there. Oh, we broke through. AMD broke through. Interesting. So let's see if we come back and get a test on this now. So we have our trigger at 50, but I want to see, and we can trigger, but ultimately what I want to see is I want to see it come back and test this trend line. So there's the trigger. So AMD is triggered. MU is pulled through the 60. Let's see if it reaches 70. So there again, AMD is it's broke this trend line. We've triggered, but on this particular trade, I want to see it come back and test this trend. If we come back and test this trend and pull back off of it, I think we'll take the trade. Otherwise, we're sitting up 191 for today, 2 trades. So we may end up just staying green. And we look what happened here on MU. You know, we triggered here. We triggered, we got into a trade here. It was a loser. Took a second trade as it came back up. Threw our trigger, had a winner, a 30-cent winner. And we're just watching it. You know, we had it pull through the 38, test the 38, pull up to the 50, test the 50, pull up through the 61, and now it's testing the 70. It's failing off the 70. Let's see if it pulls back to the 61 and does a test. And AMD is just going for it, huh? Alright, so just looking at the fibs here, and You can see we have failure to 38, comes across, test it, pulls up, test the 50, pulls up, test the 60, pulls through the 60, and the 70 we have test from the downside, and then it comes back up through it. So we'll see if we reach up to 100. MU right now is failing back down into, it failed off the 70 as we predicted. It's coming down and hitting the 9. We'll see if we get a test of the 61 to the downside, or if 9 is going to hold it up. All right, we're coming back down. It's 34.17. Okay, 34. It pulled through it. Okay, this could be an indicator that we're going to come back down and possibly test the 50, possibly get down to the 20. If we were going to take a trade here, it'd be at 17 to the short side. But we need to wait for confirmation until we're underneath and we retest this from the bottom to see if we're coming back down. So right there, that is actually not a pull through because we closed above the 60. So right now, this is an indicator that we're going long. We need that to come back down through and test it from the bottom side, which is not happening. We just got another test. We gotta wait for that candle to finish. Let's go to AMD. AMD, we see something similar. Came down and it's trying to test the 61 level. Again, what I want to see it test, I want to see it test this big white bar here. This is the trend that we have set up on the daily chart. Let's take a look at it. All right, that's this trend line right here. So back in the October highs of 2018, we got this point here, and now we're testing it again today. So we're looking for that big pullback. We want to see it test that line. And if we're correct, there's a lot of people interested to see if it's going to test this line. So we'll see if we get buyers come back in before that. All right, look at MU. Look what happened now. We came right down to the 50, testing the 50 and the 20 EMA. Now where would our trade be? Our trade would be a retest from the upside of this 34.17 level. All right, so we had our pre-market level. It seemed to pull down there, bounced a little bit. Maybe we're not going to get a retest. This is where I would just sit tight and give it a while. Maybe it's in the next hour that we come back and get a retest of this line. And basically, if we bounce off of it, great. If we pull down through it and test it from the bottom side, great. All right, now look what's happening here. All right, so we've rejected off the 50 here, and it's really a rejection off the 20. We got close to having a rejection, a failure to pull down through the 50, but I would ignore that. All right, what's happening? So we're going to pull through here. Can it pull through, test, and then pull back up to the 70, possibly the 100? While we're waiting for that to happen, let's take a look at the market. The market right now is basically just been going sideways, whipsawing around. Open, pulled down a little bit, went sideways, had a big pull down. So our tech stocks are actually trading against the market because we've been seeing them go up. So if we get pressure in the market, if we see the SPY go up with the what we've been already seeing with the tech stocks, we may see some new highs be set in, some new recent highs set up for the techs. So now you're looking at this and you might, now we've got a little bit of bias because we're going, oh, the market's going down. The market's getting depressed right now. It's going down to the bears are in control. But as technical traders, we need to pay attention to that. Obviously, that's a technical indicator. But as we saw, both of these stocks ran up this morning. And that's not what the market did. So the market doesn't always dictate every single action. And if you get into the mindset to say, if I follow the SPY, I'm going to make money, you're going to lose money all day long. I've had AMD trade. It looked like a mirror to the SPY. Every candle looked like it was just putting, and as soon as I get into trade, the SPY goes one way and AMD goes the other way. All right, so we're still, you see this pre-market level right here. We've tested it once, tested it twice. We put two tests in, so it wants to go long, but all the signs are showing that it's going to curl and go short. So if it does put in a move to the upside, it's going to be a fairly strong move. MU has failed, so MU's pulled down through the 20 and has failed on the 50. Now here's the thing. Are we getting a little depression in these two stocks because of the market now? And as soon as the market starts to have a little sunshine, these things are going to go through the roof. So I'm a little hesitant to short them. I'm still waiting for AMD to test this trend line. All right, now we pulled down to the 30, and we had a rejection on this candle, pulled right down to it. It's rejecting off of it. We have a nice point at the 50. The 50 is a whole dollar, 34. If we could get up there and test that and see some rejection, the trade would probably be, as this comes back through these two different levels, watching it break the 30. If it doesn't break the 30, get out. AMD's just completely sideways, but look at this. Tested, 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 tested the 20, and now it's pulling up. Let's see if it gets up there and tests the 70. This is a fun day of trading. So much going on. All right, so we got 1, 2 tests on the 38.2, pulls up. Okay, there's a, hit the 9 there and failed. Can it get up there to the 50? That's close to a failure. I mean, we kind of failed off the 9 itself, so. And like I said, probably the trade on this would be as it cracks down through 90. So if you're going to short it 89, 88. AMD still dancing around. What I'm interested in is AMD coming down here. And trying to put a test into this line right here. As you can see right here, this gave us a little validation that this trend is significant. We had this nice pull up here, and all of a sudden, right at the trend line, what happens? Puts in 2 candles and then breaks through. It didn't just rip right through it. It actually, you see this wick? It wanted to break through it, but then it respected the trend line. Next candle, right up to the trend line. Next candle, pulls through it. If that would have been our setup, we would have definitely taken a trade. Okay, so we said right here that we were going to look at getting in at 88 or 87. So just kind of keep an eye. Let's say we're already in. Trade's going against us a little bit right now. We really want this level right here, 85 level, to basically get rejected and pull down through it. So we're right to it. So this is kind of a moment we'd be watching. If this candle rejects off this level, we've got to really watch the pull to the upside. We want this to break. Look at this. Rejection, 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 rejection. Needs to break. That's 4 rejections in a row. It looks like it's going to break all right. Probably break to the upside. All right, closing this candle, and again, that's 4 rejections off of this 33.86 level. Back up to the 50 level, putting a test in it, bounced off of that. Oh, and pulled through it. There we go. Looks like we might have some action to the upside now. Possibly. Still got to get above it. So, could we see that coming? Well, a little bit. I mean, look at this level right here. Boom, 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 and a nice little pull. We're just going to pause right now and kind of see how all this stuff plays out. Be back in a second. Okay, so we've hit a channel of consolidation on MU and a slow grind up on AMD. Never gotten back to test our major level. This big white line here is our trend line off the daily chart. And what I really wanted to see is it come down, test that level, and see if we, held it, pulled back up. But instead, we've just been kind of making a little run up. And MU just made a break. Break that 87. Ooh, broke it. Back up. Interesting. Broke it again. Now it's making a run. Candle closes. Comes up and puts in a little bit of a test. Back up. That candle going to close above. 10 seconds left. Oh, and some strength there. Well, looks like a little bit of a fake out there. It's probably going to pull back up to the 50, and then we'll get a pull one way or the other. Anyway, we're up 191 for the day. We took 2 trades, both on MU. We never really had a good setup on AMD. We did have a break here, a trigger break here, but it consolidated for such a long time that we never actually took an entry. So could have been a good trade. So we got in here at 47. We had a full-size winner up here. Right here in the 70s as we're hitting this 100% on the fibs level. So could have been, should have been, might have been. It's okay. We're up. We're green. 191. We're going to close the day out there. Hope everybody's in the 10%. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Hopefully maybe have some time to work on strategies, plans, ideas, management, execution today. Hope you have fun with it. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great day. Bye.